Okay, here is a how-to video to create mounting studs for an intake manifold. The reason you want to have mounting studs is so that you can lower down the intake onto the heads without moving it around to disrupt the gaskets on the heads. So you can see I've prepped the surface. I've removed the gaskets already, obviously removed the intake, the distributor. You can see pretty much everything's out. So yeah, I've cleaned up the surfaces. I have yet to wipe them down with brake clean to get them grease free, but they're basically prepped and ready to go. So now I'm going to create the mounting studs, and what I'm going to use is the old intake manifold bolts. I have some new ones. What I'm gonna do is clean them up and cut the head off, and then put a slot in the top of the stud where I can get a slotted screwdriver in there. So basically the process, and I've already got some clean. This is the intake manifold that's going to go in. Believe it or not, I've already cleaned this thing up. It could be done a lot better if I were to sandblast it, but I just did it by hand. Didn't want to wait a week for the machine shop in town to get to it, so I just did it by hand, and like I said, it was a lot worse. So what I have here is one of the intake manifold bolts that I've already cleaned, and I simply had it over here on the wire wheel, and I just simply rotated it, cleaned the threads, and then cleaned the shoulder here of the bolt too, and then I'll just cut the head off here. So back over here, hope I'm making you sufficiently dizzy with my walking around. So simply what I've done here is I've mounted one of the sacrificial bolts that will become a mounting stud into the vise, clamped down pretty nicely in a nut, and then I'll take my cutoff wheel and I will cut this bad boy. So let's see, I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but we'll give it a shot. Cover your ears. I guess this guy's lost his head. So we're going to let that cool down just a hair, and then I'll probably flatten it out on the grinder, and then like I said, I'll probably take my same cutoff wheel and just notch the end there, and then I'll have those ready. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other three, and then I'll be right back and I'll show you how to go ahead and put them in, and then install the manifold using the mounting studs. So we'll see in just. But what I've simply done is, after I cut off the heads, I came back over to the grinder, and I simply just they were kind of jagged, so I simply flattened them out and then rounded off the edges to get rid of the burrs, and flattened them out. And then I went back over to the same vise that has that nut in it for a 5/16 bolt. I simply threaded it back in so it was all the way down to the shoulder, and then I took my cutoff wheel and I centered it as best I could, and I just notched in. Let me see if I can find a screwdriver laying here. It is. And as you can see, the screwdriver goes right in now. So what'll happen is, get this guy back out. I'm just going to show you this step now, and then I'll do it when I actually install the manifold as well. You can either put the mounting studs on the end here, or one bolt hole in. I've seen it suggested both ways, but this will thread in. So yeah, 4 of them, so at 4 different points, and I don't have my light on in here. Let's see. There we go. So 4 different points. So what this is going to allow, and I'm probably not going to thread it in too deeply because I want it to catch the slot or the hole in the intake. So when I have those gaskets lined up along the surface here, there are little tabs down here, right here on each corner from the head gaskets that the intake manifold gasket can sit on, but these are pretty old and worn. Like this one down here isn't really giving a lot of support. It's not very, I don't know if you can see that real well, but the point being is that it's kind of worn out. So this will keep those gaskets in place, and then when we lower that intake down, it should keep the gaskets from sliding around. So again, I'll be back when I get to that point, and we'll have the mounting studs all in place, and I'll go ahead and show you how that's done at that time. So we'll see you in a minute. Okay, I'm back to show you that the gaskets are installed and the mounting studs that I made. Before I do, I'm going to show you what we're working on here. It's a 1963 Ford Fairlane 500. It's going into paint and body next week. And so you can tell I've got all the chrome pulled. I got a lot of it on the trunk here, and then I don't know if you can see past that light. And I got some of it up here, and then I got some of it on top of my toolbox, all the front chrome. So yeah, she's gonna look good. She's gonna be Corinthian white, like the wheels. And so we just gotta get her up and running today. Not should be a big deal. So here's where we're at. You can see the 4 mounting studs that I made are installed, and I have the bead of RTV on the rear and the front here, and then in the back over here. And then on the gaskets themselves, I put RTV on both sides of the intake gasket around the water jacket. So you've got one on each end there on each head. You can see the RTV. And I'm not in a massive hurry, you know, you can let that stuff set for about 15 minutes or so. Kind of let it cure. And I ended up touching this bit here and mushing it up a bit, but it'll all flatten out real nice. So yeah, I made sure I got extra in the corners there because that's an area to leak. I don't use the cork ones that come with it. I don't think anybody does anymore, really. I think everybody knows to just put about a 1/4 inch bead of RTV in there. So now I'd like to show you how to install the intake manifold, but I think I need 2 hands to do that. Let me see if I can position. Hey, yeah, I'll put my phone right here, and then maybe I can install that while you're watching. So I'll go ahead and get the manifold. The trick is I've got the kickdown linkage in the back here that I've got to kind of work around. So I want to kind of tuck it in there. Right over the studs. Right over the studs. Okay, that went on pretty nicely. Now, the studs are sitting below the mounting studs that I made. You can see the end of it right there, and you can see why I put that notch in there. Here's the one on this side, because I'm going to want to unscrew those. So I'm not in a real big hurry to torque it down. I can just let that set up, and it went on real nice. I didn't see any shifting from my angle. Maybe you saw something from yours, but basically the way I'm going to torque this down, let's see here, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, then it goes 5 here, 6 here, 7, 8, and then it goes 9, 10, 11, 12 in that order. And I'll torque them down to about 15 foot-pounds, and then I'll go and get them up to, I don't know, somewhere around 20, somewhere between 20 and 25. It kind of right in that neighborhood. We'll just call it 22. But anyways, that's pretty much it. I guess what I'll do real quick is I'll go ahead and pull one of those. Where's my screwdriver? Here it is. Pull one of these mounting studs. And then I'll come back and replace it with
So voila. So there it is. And then I'll have these ready for next time. If and when I should need them again, I'll have them made. So anyways, that's it. Mounting studs and even some brief ideas in terms of installing the manifold. Hope this was helpful, and if so, please hit the like button. I'm not doing this to get likes or to make money. It's not the kind of channel I have, but if it was helpful, let me know. Thanks. Bye.